Hello students, Jai Hind to all. Today we are going to learn a wonderful poem, a photograph written by Shirley Tolson. Before we are going to learn a poem, I will introduce to all a poem. The poem, a photograph, is written by Shirley Tolson. In this poem, she recalls her mother and her memories while looking at a childhood photograph when her mother was 12 years old or so. She has been deceased 12 years ago and she cannot explain the grief on her mother's loss. In the first stanza of this poem, the cardboard show me how it was when the two girls cousins were paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hand, and she, the big girl, some 12 years old, so. In these lines, the poet is looking at an old photo album which is made up of cardboard. In the picture, there are three girls who are walking on the beach holding each other's hands. The girl in the middle is the tallest and oldest. The other two girls on each side are younger than her. The girl in the middle is the poet's mother. She is around 12 years old when the picture was taken of this poem. All three stood still to smile through their hand at the uncle with the camera, a sweet face. My mother's death was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, was their terribly transient fate. In the above lines of the stanza, the poet describes how the photograph was taken. Her mother's uncle took the photograph and told them to stop and pose. All three of them left their wet hair open and smiled at the camera. The poet's attention is drawn towards his mother's face, which is described as a sweet face. The photograph was taken long before the poet was born. The poet calls their feet terrible, transient, as they were so young by then, and now they had grown older. On the other hand, the sea which touched their feet has changed. First stanza of this poem. Some 20-30 years later, she laughed at the snapshot. She, Betty and Dolly, she said, and look how they dressed up for the beach. The sea. Holiday was her past, mine is her laughter. Both bright with the labor is of loss. Here we are see it means she wants. Now the discussion about the stanza. After 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the photograph. She would tell me to look at her cousins, Betty and Dolly, and how their parents would dress all these of them up for the beach. They would have planned to take a photograph beforehand. The poet recalls the sea holidays was her mother's favorite moment from the past, while the earth's favorite moments from the past was her mother's laughter. Both the women would think about those past memories which they cannot live again. They tried their best to adjust to what they lost. In the last stanza, now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It's silence, silences. In last stanza, in the above lines, the poet said that her mother died 12 years ago, the same age her mother was in the photograph. Whenever the poet thinks of her mother's death, she cannot explain what effect she has of her mother's death. death has silenced her mother, which has also left her speechless. Students, we are talking about a wonderful poem, a photograph written by Sally Dawson. In this poem, we are learn the new words like pedaling, it means walking. Transient, it means short term or temporary. Snapshot, it means photograph. Wry, it means ironic or mocking. Silence is, it means a complete absence of sounds.